Thanks. Ken Kreitzer, Sons of the American Legion Radio. Got to start with Cole. Tell us about the last series, the touchdown Miami scored, and then stopping the two-point conversion, if you would.
I mean, they're a good football team, first of all. I think it's so comforting knowing the team that we have getting in those situations, getting our back against the wall. It's tough getting scored on at any point in the game, but there's never a time where we ever doubt that we're going to win, and we get in those clutch situations. It's just a really good feeling knowing that we got a team that's going to win no matter what, and we did.
Maybe just ask Darnell about scoring the touchdown in the second overtime. You had to work through 7 yards, I think it was, to make that score. Tell us about the play, if you would.
Honestly, we got great movement up front to start the play, and then it really just comes down to toughness. Coach emphasizes it all the time. Don't flinch. I mean, that's really what it just comes down to, having the will to beat the person across from you. So.
We got to say hi to Cam Thomas. You got the start today. Big effort. Just tell us about the experience of playing a full game that went into 2 overtimes.
As a first start, it's a little bit overwhelming, but I just want to say I can't take credit for anything that I did today. I got to give all the credit to my teammates, coaches, and the fans. Just for supporting me and believing me the entire time. It was a great feeling.
So. Elijah, can you talk about that 2-point try by Miami and just playing the game to the last final second there and stopping them at the 2 and getting the win?
Yeah, we got to play whistle to whistle every play. Everybody thought that we had the sack initially, got the pass off, and, there was no whistle blown. So we just had to keep playing. I don't know who it was who got there before me, but they did a great job of getting to the guy. I was just a cleanup man. I made the last hit, but I owe it to them for getting to him first, they did a great job.
Darnell, you scored a lot of touchdowns in your career. How much will you remember the one in the second overtime?
I don't know. I think it's always great. The one that sticks out in my head was against Temple. Kind of like a similar situation. Both of those games went in overtime. It's a great feeling. And like I said before, I really got to. I'm just going to remember my offensive lines, how hard they work for everybody in the backfield. Hats off to them. They're great.
This question's for Bryce. You had to go in, with a different quarterback today. You went in and everything worked out for the best in terms of still 300 yards on the ground. What changed for the offensive line today? Did you have to make any changes with a new quarterback in tow?
No changes whatsoever. It's what we practice every day. We take reps together. We rotate quarterbacks. Cam's a great player, and he stepped up today and was ready to play. And as an offensive line, we just had to go out there and perform the way we always do. And we knew that he was going to take care of his job, and the rest of the guys were going to take care of their jobs as well.
As one of the team's offensive leaders, was there any sort of message going into the overtime period? It almost got away from you guys. So was there any sort of message, any sort of pump up, any sort of theme that you guys wanted to emphasize going into the overtime session?
It's just what we preach every day, and that's don't flinch. That's who we are. That's who we want to be. That's who we will always be. And no matter what happens, no matter the adversity, we're going to keep fighting. And that's an amazing thing about this team that I think we're extremely fortunate and blessed to have, is that we have a bunch of guys who will fight down to the last second no matter the outcome.
This question's for anyone who wants it. Basically, this was your first home game in about a month, and it was here at homecoming. How emotional, how great is it to impress the fans with a double overtime victory and get one victory closer to bowl eligibility?
For me, I really think this is one of the biggest crowds we've had here since I've been here, and the support is growing and it's unbelievable. When you have that type of support, it motivates the guys to work harder for everybody around them, not only the teammates but the fans as well. Honestly, I think it's a great thing that we have going for our program right now, and we got to just work hard every day to keep that going.
John, you got a question?
I'm good.
You're good? Okay. Good. One more, Ken.
Just, Cam, on the touchdown run that you had, you set up with a 52-yard run, and then you were able to score on the winner. Just maybe tell us about that series.
I think that series we made an adjustment coming out We had Coach drew up a new play, and he was saying, maybe he's going to squeeze. So if he squeezed, pull the ball and just get up in the hole. And I did, and he squeezed, and, the hole was big, so I just ran, basically. And then, for the touchdown, my offensive line did a great job getting pushed. And then from that point, it was pretty much easy. I just had to walk in.
So, Cam, can you just talk about the emotions today of getting your first start and then keeping your composure during an overtime game?
Pretty much like I said earlier, it's a little bit overwhelming. But like I said, I can't take credit for anything that I did today. I got to give all the credit to my teammates, my coaches, and the fans. They believed me the entire time. And, for that, I'm just so grateful.
Last one, Ken.
Elijah, just maybe tell us a little bit about your team is a lot of veterans playing. It seems like you're able to make the right play at the right time when you really need it. Is that just a sign of maturity on this team?
Yeah, we in those instances we're in the right spot at the right place at the right time. Coach Bateman draws up the plays and we execute. So in any of those big play situations, the right guy was in the right place essentially.
I don't know what to say after one like that. Holy smokes, that was draining. Miami's got a tough team, a very well coached team, and I'm sure proud of Chuck Martin, my teammate from Milliken, and the program he's built there. When he took that thing over 5 years ago, they hadn't won a game the year before, and he just has done a marvelous job. And we were very fortunate to win the game. Thought our guys made some plays in the first half, and we had ourselves positioned just exactly like we would want it on the final drive of the first half on the 6-inch line, and couldn't punch it in, and I was really frustrated about that, and certainly would have made a difference in the game, but there was a whole mix of things. I mean, we just didn't do the things that we talk about with our team. We weren't very good on third down conversions on offense or defense. And we've made most of our fourth downs. We got stopped on that fourth down down there on the goal line, like I said, at the end of the first half. We ran the ball for over 200 yards in the first half, and we were just over 100 in the second half going into the overtime. So they cut us in half. We punted 4 times in the second half. And I hate to punt. I would just wish they'd make it illegal in football. It aggravates the heck out of me to have to send a punter out there. But they were getting us off the field. We had to keep giving it back to them, and they made plays, and we turned guys loose. We had the wheel route for a touchdown in the first half, and we had the tight end to tie the game up that drive, and another wheel route they overthrew, got out of the backfield, and just stuff like that we can control. The long kick return that set up the first score that they had just aggravates me. Just not being in place, missing tackles. We didn't. We just didn't do the things we talked about. We had some foolish penalties. We had a delayed game penalty there, and that's partly my fault. I should have seen it and ran down there and called timeout, and we ended up kicking the field goal, but made it a lot tougher on ourselves than it needed to be. But in the end, I'm proud of our team. We found a way to win, and hopefully that means our guys will gut it out and find a way to do that if it ever happens again. We had the same situation last year against Eastern Michigan and went down to a 2-point conversion. We stopped them, and I told our guys it's not a rule in the program. We don't have to take a MAC team to overtime and stop a 2-point conversion. But I'm glad we stopped them. I'm glad we get to win. They're hard to get.
Ken.
Coach, maybe let's talk a little bit about overtime. You exchange field goals, and then you score a touchdown on Darnell's run, and then you get to the 4th and 15th, they score, and then you make a big play on the 2-point conversion. Maybe just tell us about what you're thinking through that.
I was just keeping my fingers crossed and praying that we were going to make a play. I mean, somebody make a play. They had made some, and they had beat us, and they beat us on the touchdown. We had them in 4th down, and they ran the corner route and beat us down there on our sideline in the second overtime to give them that shot at the 2-point conversion. And they tried to sprint to the right and throw it back to a tight end, dragging back across, and that's And that's a pretty common route for teams in that situation, and it's amazing how often that doesn't get covered. The guy just tosses it back over there, and it's like he's catching a punt. He's wide open by himself, and our guys covered it, and he just really didn't have any place to throw it. So it was a great play by our guys, and like I said, victory's not easy. It's not easy to win, and I'm probably as guilty of not enjoying it as much as anybody. I want us to play better. I want us to play good. It's not necessarily about winning or losing the game. I want us to play our very best. And I not to take anything away from Miami, but I don't think we played as well as we're capable of playing. Some things we can control, and that eats at me. So I'm going to try to enjoy the victory as best I can, but I can't wait to get tomorrow so we can get all these mistakes corrected.
Got to ask you about your sophomore quarterback, the decision to play him today instead of Kelvin, and just his maturity. He played a long game, a lot of plays, just about his performance, Cam Thomas.
Kelvin was injured and couldn't play, and we just felt like Cam gave us the best chance. I was really proud of him. He took care of the ball and made some tough decisions with some bodies around him on some reads, and he really did a pretty good job with his reads. There was a couple that he missed, but I thought he did a great job for the first time really playing and having the game on his shoulders. That's a lot, and so I was happy with his performance.
Moving forward, what's the plan at quarterback? Is Kelvin's injury long-term?
No, he should be back hopefully this week. If all plays out like we think it will, he'll be back this week.
You mentioned all week how important it was. You spent a month on the road pretty much away from West Point, and you come back today and get yourselves a thrilling win. How big, especially on homecoming weekend, how big was it to impress the home crowd with a win today, and how do you think they did?
I don't much care about impressing the crowd. I'm just happy to win. Believe me. I mean, it's victories are a relief for coaches. It's just a relief. You're like, whew, got through that one. Okay, who do we play next? That's just the way it is. And like I said, that's why it's hard for me to really enjoy the victory. Though I'm thrilled we got it. I know the things we need to do better, and what we're going to need to do next week when we play Eastern Michigan as we go through the rest of the schedule, and not make those same mistakes. But I'm really glad to be at home. It's fun to play at home. I thought the crowd was fantastic in the overtime period down there when the ball was on the end where the core is. They were as good as they've ever been since I've been here, and they did a great job helping us win the game. So I'm glad to be here at home. We've got to travel one more time, and then we'll be here for 3 more in a row, and that's nice to know. We're going to be able to play in front of our home crowd and dress in our own locker room and all those things.
Obviously, you want to take a look at the film first, but you mentioned that you want to improve things going into Eastern Michigan next week. Right now, what's the one thing you'd like to work on going into the prep week?
Me doing a better job coaching and getting our team prepared to win, because there's too many fundamental things that we did poorly today that's my responsibility to make sure those things don't happen. So that's the one thing that we're going to improve the most, is the job I do in holding our team and our coaches and everybody in the program accountable for their job. And if we do our job, I think we're capable of at least putting ourselves in position to win. And we won the game today, but we got ourselves in some positions where we about gave them the victory, and or they about earned it. And they, let me say again, they got a really good team. I think Chuck does a great job, and see the improvement that they've made from the first 3 games to now. I mean, this stretch of 5 games, they've won 3 of them, and the 2 that they've lost were 1-point losses. So they're in their games and they're battling. He's doing a great job. They got a great coach there.
Any fourth down plays?
Been in a game with that many fourth down plays?
Like 13 or 14. Did you expect them to do what you guys do?
Well, I think that they felt like they needed to. I'm sure if you asked Chuck, he'd say we just didn't want to give Army the ball back and let them eat clock. And as you know, as the game would go, I mean, they started making us punt. We really weren't sustaining any drives in the second half. You know, to punt 4 times in one half, that's a lot for us. There's often times we don't get 4 possessions in a half. So I think they just felt a sense of urgency to try to score when they had it, and give them credit. They converted some 4th downs and made some key plays.
Sal?
Coach, can you talk about John Abercrombie and the way he stepped up in that overtime? That's a career long for him here, and it's a pressure kick. He doesn't make it, you guys go home. So can you talk about that?
It's a big kick, no question about it. And frankly, he probably didn't realize what a big kick it was. He just trotted on out there and kicked it through, and the PAT there after we scored a touchdown was pretty big too. I mean, it's we won by 1 point. That was a big PAT, and to be a guy that hasn't played a whole lot during his career, really this being the first time that he's been the kicker, he's done a really nice job, and I think he's just excited to be out there and to be contributing, and I was really proud of his just his poise. They called timeout. Most of those kickers are out there swinging their leg around and stretching and all that crap, whatever they do. I don't know what they're doing out there, but he came over in the huddle with the rest of the guys. He just kind of standing like, okay, we're going to kick this still, or we're going to go for it. Okay, we're going to kick it. Okay, he's just playing. So probably because he hasn't played a whole lot, like I said, it doesn't bother him. He doesn't get nervous. It doesn't pressure him. He's just out there happy to kick, happy to be the guy.
You always preach to play to the final seconds of the game. Can you talk about Elijah and just staying with the game? And because sometimes you might not play to the end on that wild play at the that finished the game.
Well, it was a great effort by that quarterback. He's tough. He a couple of plays before that was getting tackled and kind of tossed the ball toward a guy and kept him from taking a sack. And the last play, I mean, everybody thinks he's down, and the ball goes flying out of there. And I didn't know if we had anybody left over there, but Elijah did a great job. His play has improved so much from a year ago. He's just matured incredibly in 1 year, and I think something happens here at West Point when you affirm. When you're a sophomore and you've truly got that decision, and for some of them, it's not necessarily a decision, but it's a realization that I'm in this thing for the long haul. I start classes as a junior. I'm going to finish my time at West Point, and I'm going to be commissioned as an officer. Up until then, there still can be that little bit, do I really want to do this? And I think there's something happens with their maturity when they finally have that affirmation that, you know what, okay, I'm here. And just physically he's better, mentally he's better. He's really having a good year. So he didn't have, he had some things today. He had some plays. I wish he would have come down with one of those picks. That might have helped us. But he was in position, and he's doing a really good job. I'm really proud of him.
Coach, their quarterback, Ragland, 30 completions, 320 yards offense. He threw the ball over your head in the second quarter. And I was watching Cole Christensen moving back on pass defense, was kind of leaving the inside open at times. You're trying to do some corner blitzes. Just tell us about some of the strategy to try to contain that good quarterback.
Well, we weren't getting to him very much. We did a couple times there in the last moments of the game, and Elijah had a big sack. That was a check from the sideline that Jay made. He had a different defense called, and saw formation and the personnel group to match it, and changed the call, and Elijah came free. But we were trying to get some pass rush on him and put some heat on him. Give those guys from Miami credit. They did a nice job of holding us out of there, and they were just stoning us sometimes at the line of scrimmage and kind of moving us. I'm sure trying to give him a throwing lane, and that throwing lane became a running lane for him. And that's the you're kind of darned if you do, darned if you don't. You drop that guy in coverage, you want to get him underneath the bend routes in there, which they hit some of those. They had over under on the linebacker, and he's taking the guy that's dragging, and we hit it. They hit us in behind the linebacker. So we're trying to get him in position to make a play, and hopefully one of those guys will get home. And a couple times it opened up, and he did a good job running it. And I wish we could leave a fifth guy there, but it's hard to do all the time.
As we talked to Elijah Riley about, you were able to make the last play of the game, and you're making a lot of plays like that over the last couple of years. You're playing with veterans. Is that just, again, a sign of maturity that you're able to make the big play when you really need it?
Some of it's just some good luck, Ken, and I'll take all that they'll send our way. But the guys are playing hard. When you play really hard and you play with good fundamentals, you can make things happen that go your way. And today we had some things that we did very poorly fundamentally. And like I said, I talked to our guys about it in the locker room. It's just hard. It's hard for me. They were excited and thrilled, and it's great. I'm glad. And all I see is, holy smokes, what do we got to fix? So we give ourselves a better chance to win and not have that agonizing finish. I mean, that's holy smokes. Yeah, shoot, you think your heart was hurting, man. So that's what I talk to our guys about, controlling the things we can control. If we play with good fundamentals and good effort, we'll give ourselves a chance. And that's kind of what happened there at the end.
Thanks.